Yo, we back. We back with it. Last night sucked. I apologize. About last night. We're gonna try that again tonight. We got Eagles Packers on. I'm gonna try to go live for that. Let's see if that works. But for right now, we gotta get our college football week 2 preview out. And we got a lot of games. Not a lot of this week. I feel like next week's worse. This week we got some really good games that are big in the college football playoff. We got Texas, Michigan. We got Tennessee, NC State. Clemson versus App State. We got a lot to talk about with that. And say my audio's not working, but that's good. Alright. We're good. Alright, so if you all can't hear me, let me know in the chat too. Or just text me personally if you can't go in the chat. But my bad. This headphone user, I apologize. So we got a lot of games this week that could implement a lot of the college football landscape this season. It could be a lot of stuff that could happen. A couple upsets I think that are gonna happen. I think there's gonna be at least 2 this week. But without me talking no more, let's get the ticker up. If it will pop up. 1 minute. Things being slow. I popped the wrong thing up. I apologize. I'm fumbling right now. I can admit it. Let me go to our first game. My bad, my thing is glitching. There's our first game. Alright, there's our first game. Alright. Our first game is Michigan. Alright, our game of the week is number 3 Texas going to the big house in number 10 Michigan. Defending national champions Michigan. What will happen? Who knows? This could be a wash. Will Texas... Oh, wait. I know why y'all can't hear me. My mic unplugged. With it lately, the bottom where it plugs into the bottom of my mic, that cord is just not staying in there. It keeps falling out. I don't know why. But that's why it was. Okay, so if y'all couldn't hear that whole thing before that, let me I don't know if y'all heard that. Our game of the week is number 3 Texas Longhorns going to the big house in Michigan, number 10 Michigan. So a top 10 matchup, reigning national champions Michigan going up against Texas. This could have been the national championship last year if Texas beat Washington, but they lost to Washington in Michael Penix's Washington, totally different Washington team, and this is a totally different Michigan team. If I'm going to be completely honest, this is the same Texas team without maybe a couple pieces that went to the NFL. But still the same. Quinn Ewers is still the quarterback at Texas. Brooks is the running back for them. But are they good enough to beat this Michigan defense? Well, the matchup I'm looking most forward to is Isaiah Bond, Texas wide receiver, Isaiah Bond versus Michigan DB, the best defensive, when they saying the best secondary player in the country, Will Johnson, plays for Michigan still. He returned. That matchup's going to be amazing. Isaiah Bond versus Will Johnson is going to be a matchup for the ages to pay attention to. Also, if you're wondering the numbers, Isaiah Bond is number 7 for Texas, and Will Johnson is number 2 for Michigan. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I don't think it's going to be a very high scoring game at all. I think that Texas needs to tighten up on their defensive line. If not, I think Michigan could run away with this. That's how Michigan can win. If they can slow down Texas's offense, slow down Quinn Ewers in that passing attack, and make them try to run it more, I think that's how Michigan will win it. And on offensively, the way Michigan will win it is, we know Michigan is not going to win by throwing passes. They're not that type of team. Donovan Edwards needs to step up. He needs to show up. The only big game that he has ever showed up for is the national championship game last year, which I know that is the game that matters to show up for. But now when you're the number 1 back, you need to step up in this game against Texas. Corum used to step up last year. He would come, even when he was injured, he would still come in the game and still produce when we all knew he was injured or had something going on. Edwards, we need to see that in you as college football fans, because you're on the cover of College Football 25. You're playing another person on the cover. Show why you deserve to be on that cover. Because you didn't show it last week against Fresno State at all. Fresno State embarrassed, honestly, Michigan. Yes, Michigan won 30-10, but as someone that, if I'm not a Michigan fan, but if I was a Michigan fan, I would be embarrassed of what Michigan performed last week. Yeah, they got a win, and a win is a win. I know that at the end of the day, but it was not a good performance. Not as bad as some teams' week 1 performances, but for a reigning champion, I would not be excited looking forward into this year. This is their first big matchup. It's at home. Can Quinn Ewers handle it? Well, that's the question I've been hearing. He went into Alabama last year, you guys, and won. I know that Michigan is that crowd's a different beast, but that's an SEC crowd that he walked into last year and won there. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about this game and hearing all that stuff. Is can Quinn Ewers handle the big crowd, all that? He went to Alabama last year and won. So he can handle big crowds. So, and that game's at 12 p.m. on Fox, if you guys want to tune into that. And our next game, let's see if it went to it. Our next game is Iowa State versus Iowa. I know it's messed up. The image is supposed to be different. And I know I'm the ticker. I didn't rank Iowa. I apologize. I'm sorry, I messed up. I didn't put Iowa as 21. I didn't rank them. That is my fault. I will get better and do better. Okay, now we got Iowa versus Iowa State. And if you guys want high-scoring offenses, this is not the game to watch. This game is not going to be a shootout. It's going to be a shootout for the kickers. Oh, these kickers are going to make their name today. They are going to make their name. Definitely. I can't wait for that. If you like defense, watch this game. If you like offense, don't watch this game. Because, yes, Iowa scored 40 points last week. That is unheard of. But this ain't the team they played last week. This ain't them. This is not them. This is, I forgot. Who did Iowa play last week? I apologize. Who did they play last week? Illinois State. This ain't Illinois State. Illinois State is an FCS team. They're not terrible. They're not great. But 40-0 versus Iowa. Expected. Iowa's defense is still there. QB matchup is something to look for. And the running back matchup. It's a QB and running back matchup that you have to look for in this game. That's the only two things that you have to pay attention to, because it's just going to be a defensive battle. There's too many defensive players to keep track of on both sides to talk to you guys about. It was just too many. So the top players to look for on offense for both teams is their quarterback. Iowa's quarterback is Cade McNamara, who played at Michigan, and now he's there. And last week he went 21 for 31, 251, 3 touchdowns, 167.7 QBR rating. Good game for him. Great game, honestly. It was against Illinois State, though. So this week, he's going up against a harder offense. Last year, I know that's his last year. People are going to say that to me. But last year, McNamara, when he played Iowa State, only had 46 yards, I believe, was what I saw. And that is not good at all. Can McNamara step up at this game and show he can play in this big game and show that he's a good quarterback, at least, or an average quarterback? Show it. Then we have sophomore Iowa State quarterback who last year came on the scene and didn't do terrible. Did honestly really good for a freshman. Rocco Betch. He was 20 for 26 last week against North Dakota. And North Dakota is no slouch. They are number 20 in the FCS. So they are a top 25 team in the FCS, not the FBS. Iowa State is a top 30 team in the FBS. So honestly, Iowa State should have beat them a lot more. But I got to say this, Iowa State's offense is pretty young. They have their running back and their quarterback, I believe, are both sophomores. Before I open my mouth and say that, I believe Abu Samu III is Iowa State's running back, and he is someone to look for in this game. If he goes off, I can see Iowa State pulling off the upset. This won't be a high-scoring game, like I said earlier. I think this will be like a 20-17 game at most. At most. It'll be a 20-17 game. But I think it'll be 17-10. I think that will be the final score, 17-10. A late touchdown. And I do think that this is going to be very low scoring. If you're a bettor, bet under on this game. Do not bet over because it's just not going to be over. I think this is going to be one team may finish with single digits. That's all I'm going to say right there because these teams both have defense. And the running back for Iowa to look for is Caleb Johnson. 11 carries last week, 119 yards, 2 TDs. He can be a breakout player for Iowa this year. Think he's going to be. I think that this is going to be a running game. I think it's going to be an old-fashioned game, just like it always is. Always an old-fashioned game when it comes to these two. Especially when you have anything to do with Iowa in a football game, it's going to be a low-scoring defensive game. Okay, now we go to our next game. We got Tennessee, number 14, Tennessee going up against number 24, NC State. And, wow, Tennessee got offense. We know that. And NC State is struggled with their offense. Yes, they scored 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to pull away and beat Western Carolina. It took them to the fourth quarter to pull away against Western Carolina. But yes, Western Carolina isn't terrible. They are good FCS team. But NC State, you are a top 25 team. You should not be struggling with Western Carolina. Do I think NC State's going to give Tennessee a good game? Do I think Tennessee's going to give NC State a good game? Yes, I think it's going to be a good game. If NC State's offense comes to play. If they show up like they did last week against Western Carolina and takes them till they get to the fourth quarter to win this, Tennessee is going to pull away with this. Nico, Tennessee's quarterback, will run away with this game if NC State's offense cannot go until the fourth quarter. Until they can't, I think this will be a shootout. Tennessee's a 9-point favorite. I think Tennessee, I would take that spread. I would. 9. I would take the over, I think Tennessee's going to win by 2 touchdowns. Is one what I saw from NC State. And I think it'll be a late game touchdown by Tennessee to take the lead, to take a 2-touchdown lead. But we got two of the biggest dynamic quarterbacks in college football with Nico. Don't try to get me to say his last name because I can't say it. I always mess it up, and I'm not going to try to. I call him Nico. Then we got Grayson McCall for NC State, who was Coastal Carolina's quarterback the last few years, who made his name there, who made Coastal into what they are now pretty much. And this is something that I saw by the experts that it was really interesting about NC State. Going into the season, they were projected to win 8.5 games. They were projected to win 8.5 games. So that's 9 or 8 wins they're predicting. 9 or 8 wins. So 8 and 4. And then 9 and 3 they're predicting. That's what their record. Now they're predicting 6.4 wins. You understand how that's a 2-game drop? 2.1 game drop because of how they performed against Western Carolina in week 1. That is not good at all. That's wow. I do think that what we're gonna see is Tennessee run the ball a lot. They like running with Dylan Sampson, their running back. They love running with them. Last week he had 12 carries and 124 yards, 3 touchdowns last week. And we know Nico can run too. So I think that NC State is going to have a problem on their hands. They better have a QB spy out there. They better. If they don't, then Nico's going to run all over them with Sampson. I think that Tennessee's going to have a run game. I think they're going to run this ball more than they pass this ball in this game. And I think it's going to come out as a surprise. But 2 players to look out for on that NC State offense when you're watching the game is Jordan Waters, their running back, and Kevin Concepcion, their wide receiver. Those are the 2 players to look for on their offense that can make a big play at any point happen. So those are the 2 players I say to watch. Don't watch Grayson McCall because he really didn't impress me. You can watch him, but the 2 players that you should be paying attention to for this NC State offense, this game especially, Jordan Waters, their running back, and the wide receiver 1, Kevin Concepcion. Then we go to, in my opinion, the second best game of the week, or hype-wise. We got Colorado versus Nebraska. Dion versus Rule. Shador versus Dylan Raiola. Who will take this? Last year, Colorado beat them pretty bad. You don't think Rule forgot about that? From what we saw from Colorado versus UTEP week 1, they beat them 40-7. Dylan Raiola was having some great passes. Colorado ran the ball 23 times against North Dakota State and struggled to win. Remember that. They struggled against North Dakota State. North Dakota State is a great team. Never deny that. But for what the hype that Colorado had, it should have been like Oklahoma State beat the number 1 team in FCS, South Dakota State. 40-21 was the score. Colorado, that should have been the score of that North Dakota State game from the hype that you guys are promoting yourself from all that. From what I've learned, I'm going to say this, and this is any Colorado fans out there, take this. You guys are the same team as last year. You guys got the same 3 star players on offense. Shador, Jimmy Horn, Travis Hunter. Those are your 3 players. Those are the only 2 options that he has that he will throw to on a consistent basis. He don't got a running back. That running back I don't believe in him. Nope, don't believe in him. They ran for 23 yards against North Dakota State and only had 59 yards. They ran it 23 times, Colorado, and only had 59 yards. That's 2.6 average per run. That's terrible. Horn, their passing offense was amazing last week. But it was between Horn and Hunter. Horn had 7 receptions, 198 yards, and 1 touchdown. Travis Hunter had 7 receptions, 132 yards, 3 touchdowns. 14 receptions right there with those 2. 14 receptions between 2 wide receivers. We know who he's going to go to. Shador's going to go to. Colorado's got to shut those 2 down and put the ball, make Shador make plays with other players. That's what Nebraska's going to do to Shador. And I'm here to watch it because I want to see if Shador is that good. Show us, Shador, that you can win these games without your 2 best players. Show you can take over a game. Show you can make the players around you better, not just your 2 stars. Make the players around you. Make that running back a star running back. Make him look like the star. That's what a leader does. Make the players around him look better. I have not seen that from Shador once. He makes Travis and Jimmy Horn his 2 best players that don't need him to make them look better because they're already better. They're good. We know they're good. I want to see players around Shador step up or Shador give them the ball so they have the chance to step up in this game. Because it's not just going to take, it's going to take more than Shador, Jimmy Horn, and Travis Hunter to beat Nebraska. It's going to take more in the future, too, when Colorado plays bigger names. It's going to take more than just 3 players on offense, that 2 are wide receivers and 1's a quarterback, to win the game. Shador's going to have to step up and find other options to win this game. Nebraska, now we go to Nebraska. Nebraska's got Dylan Raiola, true freshman, one of the highest quarterbacks. I think he is the highest quarterback to come out of, ranked quarterback to come out of high school. If I'm wrong, tell me in the chat. But Nebraska only allowed 205 yards last week. 205 yards. Yes, they played UTEP. UTEP sucks. I do know that. But they had 507 yards. This Nebraska offense can go. They have 4 running backs that they rotate. 4 running backs they rotate. E. Johnson, who had 71 yards. Dodell had 55 yards and a touchdown. Then they go R. Johnson, had 50 yards. Then go Irving Jr., who had 24 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's 4 running backs that all got not great yards, but they rotate them. So you don't know what running back you're getting. That's going to be a challenge for Colorado to pick up, because I bet you that Irving Jr., because I really didn't see that Nebraska game. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really didn't watch it. I watched the highlights, and Irving Jr. is your power back. He is going to be the one. He's your Derrick Henry. So, is Dylan Raiola ready for prime time? I don't know that question. I can't give you that answer. It's for us to watch. Can Dylan Raiola handle this moment? Can he handle the big moment. Will he? I think so. I think he'll handle it pretty well. He is at home, and so that's what I'm saying. I believe that Dylan Earler will have a good chance, and I think he'll do good. Players to look for that he will go for is Naylor, Isaiah Naylor from Wyoming, also Texas. Watch for him. He seemed like he was Raiola's favorite target last week. So watch for him in this game. I believe that Raiola will have a great game, and I think that this will be a better game than, or I think this may turn into a blowout. I do. I really want it to. Now we go to an upset watch. An upset watch. Not an alert. It's a watch. I gotta get it. But right now we got upset alert. This is kind of an upset alert because this could be an upset. Everyone watch this game. We got App State versus Clemson. We all know what App State is capable of against these big teams. They love to pull off the upsets. They love it. It's App freaking State. Ask Michigan fans. Ask Coastal fans. Ask James Madison. Ask them how it goes when you guys want to get a good win. A good quality win, they will never allow it. And Clemson needs to win. It's a must-win game for Clemson. You can't go to 0-2. And that will be huge for the ACC because the top two ACC teams now, if App State beats Clemson, the top two ACC teams are 0-2. Going into the season, everyone was saying it's going to be Florida State versus Clemson in the ACC championship. Okay, but what if they're both 0-2? No one predicted that. No one predicted that. So, the question is, can App State beat Clemson? Yes. App State is very, very young. But, I gotta say this though, could they be too young? Could they be too young? They're going up against Clemson, who is been together for a good amount of time. They have Dabo. That's one thing I gotta say. Dabo recruits. He doesn't go to the transfer portal. We all know that he don't go to the transfer portal, but he gets recruits and he fills in pieces that he needs. But I don't think Cade Kubnik, is that how you say his name? Kubnik, whatever his name is. He's not it. He is not the answer. Him and Graham Mertz should not be getting the hype that they were getting because they are not that good. They are overhyped. They're the two most overhyped quarterbacks in college football. I will stand on that. I don't think neither of them are good. I don't. Put in the backup. I don't know who the backup is for Clemson, but put him in because he's much better. He'll probably do better than Kubnik, because Kubnik showed last year he can't do nothing. He showed this year already against Georgia. Nothing. So, Clemson, Dabo, come on. Get your stuff together. You're a much better team than what you guys have been showing. It's kind of bad. But can App State, the difference maker for Clemson is going to be Phil Maffa. He's going to step up this week. He's going to have a big game for Clemson, in my opinion. That is who the player I think is going to go off. But it is a jump from week 1 to week 2. In college football, that is the biggest jump that you see in teams. Don't know why. Don't really know. It's just them teams make the most improvements going from week 1 to week 2. This past week, teams made so much more drastic changes, changed their play scheme, changed their playbooks, did something, and now you're going to see a completely different team, that Clemson team. What are we going to see? I don't know. I think you're going to see a lot more running with Phil Maffa and trying to get him going this season. That's what I think you're going to see from them. But Clemson does have a decent defense. A player to look for is D lineman Peter Woods, who had 5 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, and 1 sack last week against Georgia, which is good for him because Georgia was scoring 34-3. That was the final score. But the player to look for App State is Joey Aguilar. He's the quarterback. He is going to be a problem. And with App State, they have 3 wide receivers to look for, who are Aguilar's targets: Horn, Jackson, and Robinson. All 3 players can make big plays if they need to. So App State's going to be passing the ball. I think you're going to see a good amount this week, and then sneak it in the run, play action. I think that's how they're going to try to beat Clemson this week. Can't wait to see it. And also, App State has 3 linebackers to watch to see if they can shut down Phil Maffa in that run game. Stuff them. Let's see. Which is Davis, Farrow, and Scroggs. Those are the 3 linebackers for App State. So, this is an upset. Neither team has a have got a defensive turnover yet this season, so let's see if either can get their first one in this game against each other. Let's see. Now we go to another upset alert that could happen. A lot of people are saying no, but I really think so. The way that what the ranking is Oregon? 7? Or 7. Oregon. The way Oregon performed last week against Idaho was embarrassing. Well, they're playing another Idaho team. This time the best team in Idaho. Boise State Broncos. The Blue Turf Gremlins. They're coming for Oregon. I think they can win. Ashton Jeanty, the running back for Boise State last week, had 6 touchdowns, 267 yards. That's just not right. 6 touchdowns? I do that in Madden. College Football 25. That's just not right. 6 TDs? But now this week he's going up against a good defense. He's going up against a defense that looked good last week. The player on Oregon that I think needs to perform that looked horrible last week was Dylan Gabriel. Everyone said, oh, he had 380 yards, 2 touchdowns. Okay, yeah, he had that. He had 380, 2 touchdowns. But his longest reception was 27 yards. Where's the big plays? We need the big plays from Oregon. If Oregon wants to beat Boise State, they're going to need to have explosive offense show up. They're going to need to. But let's see if they do it. Because from what I saw last week, I didn't see nothing. Nothing that impressed me from Oregon. I was impressed by Idaho. I got to say that. I was impressed by Idaho. There are 3 players on offense for Oregon to watch. Is wide receiver Tez Johnson, 12 receptions, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did that last week, so he's there. He's Dylan Gabriel's favorite target. I need Tez Johnson to have a big play, though. No more of the 12 little check down. I need a big play, explosive play from him. And I need another explosive play. I need Jordan James, their running back, to have an explosive game. One of those 2 players I need to see step up. James had 135 last week, total yards, and he had 1 rushing touchdown. Then we go to Terrence Ferguson, who had 7 receptions, 87 yards. Interested to see how he steps up. He's the tight end for Oregon. Can't wait to see how he plays. Those are the 3 players that you should be looking for on Oregon's offense, except for their quarterback, Dylan Gabriel. Then we go to how can Oregon stop Jeanty? Okay. Well, they do have Matoya. I can't say he's a my brain's not working. He's a linebacker or a defensive edge. I forgot which one. Tell me if my brain went blank. I apologize, you guys. But yeah, he is going to be a difference maker in this Oregon offense this year. He impressed me against that Idaho Matoya. That's his first name. His last name, I wasn't going to try it. It starts with a U. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to try it. Not going to embarrass myself. Not going to disrespect the player's last name. His first name is Matoya. So, he's going to be a difference maker, I think, on that defense. Boise State, the player that you got to see for is really Jeanty. That offense runs through Jeanty. Jeanty is the guy to look for. They shut Jeanty down. Boise State could be in trouble. But they also have a true freshman, Siri Gaines, who had 154 yards total last week and 2 touchdowns. So he can play, and he's a true freshman. So Boise State has 2 solid running backs right now that are to look for, again, in this game. Then, on defense, they had 4 sacks, Boise State. All by Simpson, Feely, Rip, and Virgin. His name's Virgin. Those are the 4 players to look for on Boise State's defense. Can't wait to see how this game goes. I think Boise State's going to surprise some people in this game. Now, our next game, we got UTSA versus Texas State. Group of 5 game of the week. Think this is going to be a great game. Watch is going to be on ESPNU, I believe, at 3:30. You should tune into this game because this is a big group of 5 matchup. Texas State got James Madison's old quarterback, Jordan McLeod. And UTSA has Josh McCown's son. What's his name? Jordan McLeod. No, not Jordan. What the fuck is his name? Owen McCown. So that's this is going to be a QB matchup. Look for that. You got Devin McCann for UTSA, 11 receptions to look for. He seems like he's Omo McCown's favorite target. I think that this is going to be a high-scoring game. Don't think this is going to be a defensive matchup. High-scoring game. If you want to see offense, tune into this game. Not much to talk about with that game. Just going to be a game to watch for because it's a big group of 5 games, so tune into that. Then we got Cal versus Auburn. People are going to be like, why are you putting this game on here? Well, Auburn is Auburn. They're going to be good. They got 3 freshman wide receivers that are going to be disgusting in college football. They have... That's a B. Ah! He ain't getting in here. Okay. So... Then it's just something to look for. Cal's going to be better than most people think. I think Cal's going to give Auburn's a better game than most people are expecting. Think that Auburn will win this, though. I'm going to say, I know I'm getting a prediction before the end of the show, but I think Auburn will get this, but I think Cal will give them a much better game than the experts and the bettors are saying because the spread is 13.5 for Auburn. I don't think Auburn will do that. I think it will be a touchdown score at the end. Let me go to Kansas, Illinois. Kansas is going to Champaign, Illinois to play Illinois, who is 1-0, who's coming off a victory against Eastern Illinois. Game to look for, and this is Kansas' offense. That's what you want to look. That's the only thing I'm looking for. Yes, Illinois has some offense to look for, but I'm looking forward to Kansas' offense. This could be an upset. I don't think it's going to be. Kansas offense, you got to look for Neal, Henshaw, and Henshaw. Those are both running backs for Kansas. They're going to run the ball through all over Illinois, in my opinion. So I think that you're going to see Kansas take this game by running the ball crazy. They had 331 rushing yards week 1. So look for them to have another 300 yards rushing, I think in this game. Look for that. Now we go to our last game on the slate for us to talk about. We got number 23, Georgia Tech, who's coming in as a 2-0. Beating Florida State and Georgia State. Now they play Syracuse, who's got McCord from Ohio State. Could be a better game. I think Georgia Tech's going to win this. I think they have a better overall team, but the matchup to watch for is Georgia Tech running game versus Syracuse's defense, Syracuse's defense allowed 255 yards on the ground versus the Ohio Bobcats, a MAC team. This ain't no MAC team. This is Georgia Tech, who has a good running game, and I think that's something to look for. On Syracuse's defense, they're missing their heart and soul, Marlo Wax, their linebacker. So the players that are stepping up is James Hurd and Anwar Sparrows. Those are the 2 players that are stepping up in linebacker for Syracuse. See how those 2 can perform. But the player to watch for Georgia Tech is Jamal Haynes, their running back. Like I said, he averaged 5.7 carries last week and 159 yards with 3 touchdowns. So look for him in this game against Syracuse. And now, we go to my predictions. Okay, Texas versus Michigan. I think Texas is going to take that. Think it's going to be a 31-24 game. 31-24. Then we got Iowa versus Iowa State, 17-10. Iowa's going to take that. We got Tennessee versus North Carolina State. Tennessee's going to take that by... I don't even know how much Tennessee's going to take that by. I just know Tennessee's going to win this. I just know it. I don't know the final score. I just think Tennessee's going to win this by at least 2 touchdowns. I think Tennessee's going to make a statement game. This is a statement win for either of these teams. And I think it's going to be Tennessee that makes the statement. Then we got Colorado versus Nebraska. Nebraska, I think, should win this game. If Colorado wins this game, I will be surprised. I really will be. I'm hoping for Nebraska to win this game. Let's hope Nebraska gets this. My prediction is Nebraska to win and give Colorado their first loss of the year. Then we got App State versus Clemson. Can Clemson pull this off? This one, I was having problems all week trying to figure out who I want to call in this game. Do I want to give it to App State? Do I want to give it to Clemson? At the end of the day, I think Clemson's defense is just going to stop App State's offense. I think it's going to be a better game. I think it's going to be a field goal game. People are saying it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to come down to a last-minute field goal by Clemson to take this game to go 1-1. I think so. But do not be surprised if App State pulls out this upset. But I got Clemson here. Now, my upset of the week is Boise beating Oregon. That is my upset of the week. Boise State will go to Eugene and beat number 7 Oregon in dramatic fashion. Boise State's going to beat Oregon. I'm calling it now. Y'all can call me crazy, but I got that. That's my prediction right there. That's my hot take of the week. Boise State will beat Oregon. Then we got UTSA versus Texas State. Who I got in this? I got Texas State. Texas State should pull out this victory. UTSA, neither of them looked impressive in week 1, but I believe more in Texas State's quarterback, Jordan McLeod. He's shown that he can win in the big games, and just think he's going to do better. Just think that Jordan McLeod from James Madison, and he went somewhere else before that. I don't remember. It was a big school. If you guys know in the chat, let me know where he went before that. But I think that Texas State will pull out that victory and beat UTSA, and that's a good win for them. It's the group of the 5 game of the week. Then we got Auburn versus Cal. I think Auburn will win this, but I think Cal will give them a much better game than any expert has been predicting. Look for Jaden Alt, the running back for Cal, to step up huge. Make sure to watch that. Then we go to Illinois versus Kansas, or Kansas versus Illinois. Kansas should win this game. Like I said, their running game is going to be the difference maker, so pay attention to that. Then we got our last game, Georgia Tech versus Syracuse. I think Georgia Tech is going to beat Syracuse. And then our 2 FCS games that I didn't put on here. We got number 4 Montana State, number 4 ranked in the FCS, Montana. I meant to say the Grizzlies, not the Bobcats, going up against North Dakota. I think Montana will take that game. And then we have Incarnate Word, number 11 in the FCS, going up against South Dakota State, who is number 1. I think South Dakota State will beat them pretty badly because South Dakota State is disgusting. And they're mad that they lost last week to Oklahoma State. So those are your games to watch during the week. And also, Washington State is going to pummel Texas Tech this week. So make sure you guys tune into that. And if you guys missed anything, I'm going to be posting some of these as their own videos, recaps of the videos. And I'm going live tonight for Packers, Eagles. Y'all better be tuned in if it works. I don't know if it's going to work. This one worked pretty well. Let's hope that it works. So make sure you guys tune into that. Thank y'all all who tuned in. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. And I will see y'all later tonight around 7? I think that's when the game is. Whenever the game is, 10 minutes before the game starts, I try to go live. So make sure you guys tune into that. And until then, see ya.